Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Raw and Rare Podcast. This podcast is dedicated to promote the endeavors of raw and rare individuals or groups in the field of music, arts, literature, culture, and education from all genres and platforms who have, in one way or another, created impact in their respective communities. We aim to share their experiences and insights with the intention to inform and uplift the viewers and listeners. So stay tuned for more exciting episodes where we hear it, see it, and feel it only here on Raw and Rare Podcasts. And before anything else, I'd like to thank all our regular viewers and listeners in Winnipeg, Manitoba, in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, all over Canada, in the States, around the world, and most especially in the Philippines. Maraming salamat sa patuloy na pagsuporta at panunood ng Raw and Rare Podcast. Mabuhay kayong lahat. All right. And like we said, we have a very special guest again this evening. Our special guest this evening, he got his rock and roll pedigree as a founding member of Widemouth Mason, who had 3 gold records, 3 Juno nominations, and a host of other accolades and awards. He has toured the world, playing nearly 3,000 shows and opening for iconic acts such as the Rolling Stones, AC/DC, The Guess Who, Alanis Morissette, Van Morrison, The Tragically Hip, and many more. He was also named one of Canada's top bassists in Canadian Music Magazine. Throughout his music career, he has worked with a roster of legendary producers including David Leonard of Paul McCartney and Prince, Joel Van Dyke of Aerosmith and Bryan Adams, and Todd Burke of Red Hot Chili Peppers, No Doubt, and Johnny Cash. After establishing himself as one of the more entertaining musicians in Canada, he began to work as a performance coach inspired from both his love for performing and watching the world-renowned live producer Tom Jackson at a workshop during Canadian Music Week in 2008. Over the past 10 years, he has coached over 200 artists and bands, helping drastically improve their live shows and ability to impactfully connect with the audiences. He has held workshops at high-profile conferences such as Peak Performance Project, Songrise Conference, and Breakout West. His versatility in the studio allows him to adapt to almost any genre from pop, rock, adult contemporary, indie, folk to jazz, blues, world, reggae, and R&B. Currently, he's focused on coaching, producing, mentoring, co-writing, and also working with his band, the Steadies, who perform close to 100 shows per year. All right, folks, sit tight and let's all welcome to the show, Mr. Earl Pereira, mga kaibigan. Hello, Earl.
Hello. Yeah,
Hello.
hello, buhay.
Kumusta, mabuhay? Wow.
Yes. Thanks
Hi,
for
Earl.
having me.
Yeah, it's an honor. Like I said, having you on the show. Mga kaibigan, Earl Pereira here. We'll be talking about all his achievements, all his current projects, Kapwa Pinoy, mga kaibigan, no, na from Canada, Mr. Earl Pereira. Earl, can you say hi to all our viewers and listeners of Raw and Red Podcast and to all our Filipino friends around the world, our Canadian friends? Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say hello. I'm it's my first time on this podcast, so for all you listeners out there and people who love music, thank you for all the support over the years. To our brothers and sisters and family and friends in the Philippines, kamusta ka? I will come see you soon. We're going to talk about that. On my very first trip is to the Philippines.
Yes.
Is planned for. It was supposed to happen this year, but it's going to be because of COVID. It'll have to be next year.
Wow. Okay, but it will happen, mga kaibigan.
It's happening
as planned. Yeah. Once again, mga kaibigan, we have Earl tonight, and we're gonna talk about all his music achievements. He's got 20 plus years, in his career in the music industry. He has toured the world. Like we said, we'll be talking about his current project. He's got his his recording studio as well. He's a mentor, coach for live performers, most especially bands, you know. And one more thing, he's also an official endorser of Dingwall bass guitars, based in Canada.
The
All right,
best.
yeah, the best. Okay. Hey Earl, yeah, before we start, about your music
Yes.
career, it's mostly in Canada because Earl, mga kaibigan, Earl Pereira was born in Canada, you know, uh, from Filipino parents, and but he started his music career here in Canada. But yeah, we'll be talking about all his whole journey, in the 20 plus years. Earl, yeah, can you tell us your
Oh,
upbringing as an artist? How did you start? How did this all
sure.
started? Yep.
Well, my family, very musical family. I'm the youngest of five. Uh, the rest of my brothers and sisters were born in the Philippines. They're all older than me, and my parents moved to Canada in 1974. My mom was actually about 6 months pregnant with me, so I was conceived in the Philippines actually,
All right.
and then was born in Canada a few months later.
Okay.
Um, and so yeah, I grew up in a musical family, lots of musicians, singers. Everybody can sing and play something.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, my dad, he was a huge music lover, so he had lots of records of everything from Beatles to big horn section funk bands like Tower of Power and
Oh
stuff
wow.
like that,
Yeah. Yeah.
Earth, Wind and Fire, the Bee Gees. He loved like all these great bands. So I grew up knowing about great music.
Yeah.
So that definitely shaped me. And then by the time I got into in grade school, maybe by grade maybe 6 or 7, I started taking guitar lessons.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I was inspired by my oldest brother, Efren Jr. He was already touring in a band, playing gigs, traveling around Western Canada. When I was only maybe 11 years old, he was already doing that. So of course, I see that him doing that. That's going to influence me because I
Wow.
thought it was so cool. His
Wow.
band
Yeah.
would use the basement of our house as their practice play space.
Mm-hmm.
So there was always instruments around, drums, PA system, full. So
Yeah.
by the time I got to high school, I started my own band,
Mm-hmm.
and we would practice on my brother's band's equipment, without him knowing. We weren't supposed to use it, but we did anyways.
Yeah.
And then secretly, right? And then I kept the band throughout high school. I took up bass because that's what my brother played,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a shortage of bass players. Back then, there was a shortage of bass
Mm-hmm.
players, and
Mm-hmm.
there still is to this day.
Yes.
So the band I started, and I was playing guitar, but everyone was playing guitar. So I just felt like, okay, well, someone has to play bass.
Yeah.
Might as well be me.
Mm-hmm.
My brother already had one sitting in the corner of the room, so I picked it up,
Mm-hmm.
and then I started really falling in love with it. Not right away. I enjoyed playing it, but I only started playing it more as a necessity
Yeah.
for my band,
Yeah. For the
if
band.
anything. But I was also the singer,
Mm-hmm.
so I was learning how to sing and play bass at the same time right away, which I think helped me
Okay.
because I think it's from what people tell me, it's a really hard skill to be able to sing and play bass.
Mm-hmm.
I find that singing and playing drums is probably just as hard, but I can see that what people would think singing, playing bass is hard. It just doesn't seem hard to me
Mm-hmm.
because I started doing it
Yep.
very, very young. Um, but I guess if you played bass for many years and then tried to sing, or vice versa, if you were singing for many years and then tried to play bass, it would be probably really hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I didn't have that problem, and then I stuck with my band all throughout high school. We were called Vendetta.
Oh.
We were a cover band, but I was already starting to write some songs.
Okay.
And by the time I got to university, I actually before that in high school is kind of where I did fall in love with performing. That's when I had a dream of, I want to be a musician. I
Yep.
kind of I knew when I was 16, 17 years old that this is what I want to do. It's just like, how do I convince my parents
Okay.
this is what I want to do? Because
Mm-hmm.
they were set on me going to university, becoming a doctor or a
Okay.
dentist or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So I did. I went to university. I studied medical school and dentistry,
Mm-hmm.
but I was just not enjoying it at all.
Cool. Yeah.
I just wanted to play music,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really hard time for me. That was probably one of the hardest times I had, was not playing music, and when I was just going to school.
Yeah.
But it was also good for me because it made me miss it and made me realize this is really, really what I want to do. So my first opportunity at getting to be in a touring band, I took it. And there was an artist who was touring around that needed musicians as
Mm-hmm.
his band. So me and my friends that I was playing with,
Yep.
we became his band. Um, but I mean, we wanted to be our own band, and that's Wide Mouth
Yep.
Mason, right?
Oh, yeah.
But we thought this was a great chance to get some experience. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we actually could make a little bit of money,
Yep.
buy some new gear.
Yeah, of course.
But the
Yeah.
experience, yeah, was the main thing. We were playing all the time, every night, 3-4 hours a night
Mm-hmm.
in bars all across Western Canada, up
Yeah.
north. 6 weeks at a time. Some
Mm-hmm.
show gigs were,
Yep.
and I just found that got us to be very good, very fast.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when you get to play so that much, you're gonna get good.
Yeah,
It's
of
just
course. Yeah.
it's inevitable.
Yep.
Whereas a lot of bands back home in Saskatoon
Mm-hmm.
that were only doing originals, that refused to do covers, they were only gigging once a month,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
they're not really improving,
Mm-hmm.
and we didn't want to be a cover band forever. We just were doing it for the experience, to make some money, make some
Yep.
connections,
Mm-hmm.
and eventually we recorded our own album,
Okay.
and that album got noticed by Warner
Wow.
Music,
Yep.
lots of labels actually in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So we got management. Next thing we know, different people from different record labels are all coming to our shows, and they were all fighting over the band. They all wanted to sign us.
Yep.
There was about 4 or 5 labels: Sony, um, A&M, Universal, EMI, and Warner.
Yep.
So we decided to go with Warner just because we really liked the head of the company. Was really, he knew music,
Mm-hmm.
and he knew how to talk to us.
Yep.
Which was by showing that he knows music better than we do, right?
Okay. Yep.
And that earned our respect, and we thought this is the right company for us. This is the right label. Um, and sure enough, our first release
Yep.
became a big hit in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Our first album, almost went platinum.
Mm-hmm.
Big things were happening
Yeah.
pretty fast.
Yeah.
It didn't seem fast to me because we had played so many shows that people didn't know about
Okay. Yeah.
before that. For 3 or 4 years, we were just playing nonstop. So we seemed more like 28, 30-year-olds
Mm-hmm.
experience-wise, but we were only 21,
Oh.
21, 22.
Yeah.
So yeah, so some big things started happening for the band. We got to tour with the Rolling Stones, tour with
Wow,
Tragically Hip, tour with bands like AC/DC. We went overseas, and performed at the Montreux Jazz Festival in Switzerland,
Wow.
which was very, very prestigious
Prestigious one.
festival.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where we got to open for Van Morrison, and Van Morrison in the newspaper had told the news, the interviewer, that he thought we were the best new band that he had seen ever.
Wow.
So which was great
Mm-hmm.
for us. So things just kept going better and better. We put out more albums. Unfortunately, the music industry, this was in the late 90s.
Yeah.
By the early 2000s, we were established in Canada as one of the top bands.
Yep.
We were starting to make inroads and make fans internationally. Um, but yeah, and that's when Napster and all the
Yeah.
downloading happened,
Downloading
and
era.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then the music industry started changing.
Mm-hmm.
From then on, people were losing their jobs, labels weren't making money,
Mm-hmm.
and it affected us like it affected most bands that were signed at the time.
Yep.
And they had to make decisions on the bands that were going to stay on the label and the people that were going to work for the label, and it was
Yep.
getting smaller and smaller.
Mm-hmm.
So by the mid 2000s, we weren't on label, we were independent again.
Mm-hmm.
Our contract was up, and it was an interesting time because as much as it was devastating
Mm-hmm.
to not be on top anymore.
Yep.
I also found that it gave me a chance to just kind of get away from it a
Yep.
bit,
Yeah.
and focus on my own music. And so I had other musician friends that I could play with, that just for fun again, because it
Okay.
became
Yeah.
such a business.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my bandmates weren't getting along, and there was a lot of pressure, and it's hard. It's harder than people think
Mm-hmm.
when you always have to be on top. It's hard to stay on top.
Yeah.
It's hard to
Mm-hmm.
get there,
Mm-hmm.
but it's even harder to stay there. And you really have to love it. You have to have a major passion for it. You have to be smart at business. You
Yeah.
have to be also great at what you do. So I started to realize, the journey of that band, I think, to me, was coming to an end.
Okay.
And I had been doing it for years already, 14, 15 years. And
Mm-hmm.
at that, I was feeling like I needed to do something new,
Mm-hmm.
something that felt like it was more me.
Yep.
But I can never, all the things I've learned and accomplished in that band, I wouldn't be able where I am now
Of
if
course.
I
Yes.
hadn't been in that band.
Mm-hmm.
So the Juno nominations and all the awards and the notoriety that came with being in that band is still, I mean, people still talk about it,
Of
and
course.
I'm
Yeah.
still recognized
Mm-hmm.
as a key part of that band.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to, forge my own path, and create music that was exciting to me, that felt like more my personality. So that's when influences like reggae music and
Okay.
funkier, groovier bands and sounds is what I love. Like, that's the Filipino in me
Mm-hmm.
that likes the
Oh,
funky stuff.
yes.
And that's what I did. That's when I started the
Mm-hmm.
Steadies, and I had left Widemouth Mason, and started the Steadies 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, it took a while. I mean, it was a lot of work. It was scary to start over
Mm-hmm.
again.
Mm-hmm.
We were unknown,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, oh boy, this is
Mm-hmm.
gonna be
Yeah.
a big challenge.
Yeah,
You know,
Earl. Yeah, like you mentioned, you've been to the ups and downs of your music career,
yes,
and like in the '90s, as we all know, even before the Spotify era, the download era, you've been there ever since. You've witnessed everything. Earl, when you
yes,
started the Steadies, this was in 2011. This
yeah,
is the internet era, right? Where we one can
yeah.
sit on a couch, record himself there, be an
That's right.
artist, But
Home studios,
home
yeah,
studios
everything.
started sprouting everywhere. But since you've been to the '90s music scene, you've got all the notoriety and everything. You've won three, like Juno nominations and everything, and then you're back on track. Only that you're starting over again, right? With the Steadies in
Yeah.
2011. Did you find it? easier now than in the 90s to promote? Like you have the Steadies now. I know what I gotta do because I've been there. I had been there. That,
Yeah,
you know, how was it?
yeah, you're right. It was, in a way, there were some advantages
Mm-hmm.
because I had, like you said, done all those things from the 90s up until then.
Yep.
I got to learn so much about the music business, how to run a band,
Mm-hmm.
how to run a business, um, book shows,
Yep.
manage,
Yeah, all those
um,
stuff. Yeah.
so many things, promote yourself. I think back then you couldn't do that. You had to
Mm-hmm.
be on a label for anyone to know who you
Yeah.
are,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whereas now that's not the case. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have to have that. You can self promote yourself with social media.
Yeah. Social media.
Um,
Yeah.
now the streaming platforms are huge.
Yeah.
Spotify's a big part of it. YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's easier for bands and artists to promote themselves now and reach the masses and gain fans,
Mm-hmm.
definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Definitely. Yeah.
and which is definitely advantage. I think a disadvantage is that because of that,
Mm-hmm.
because anybody can do that. Now there's so many artists that you have to almost compete with,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Whereas back in the day there was only so many. There was a small group
Mm-hmm.
of artists that were on record labels.
Yep.
Now there's so many independent artists, and there's still those major label artists. So
Mm-hmm.
your competition is everybody,
Yep.
and it makes it harder for to get people to listen to you because
Mm-hmm.
there's so much music out there. There's so much at your fingertips. You could
Mm-hmm.
find a new band. Everyone's trying to promote themselves,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I think the challenge these days, in the beginning of the studies, was how do we stand out amongst all of this? Um, and that, I mean, that's still a challenge. I'm still
Mm-hmm.
trying to, work on that. But I think, the journey where we're at in 2020 versus 2011
Mm-hmm.
is, just I just stuck with it. We, kept
Mm-hmm.
promoting ourselves, kept putting out music, record after record. You're getting more fans, more shows, more opportunities,
Yep.
uh, more followers on social media. I think that's just, to me, it's kind of been a more enjoyable
Mm-hmm.
experience now. Even
Yep.
though we're not a big band and we don't play to thousands of people yet,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Not just
the
yet.
journey
Yeah.
has been, yeah, the journey has been more meaningful to me
Mm-hmm.
because, I'm doing music I really love. I'm playing with musicians that are my friends, that we everyone respects each other, everyone has a good time, and that's really all I ever
That's the
wanted.
most important thing. Yeah. In a group.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the success I had early on. That was great and all, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm really thankful for that. But that's not why I was playing music. I wasn't out for the awards. I wasn't in it for to be famous or make a lot of money. I just wanted to play music that I really love
Mm-hmm.
with people that love it too,
Of
that
course. Yeah.
that have a great time
Yeah.
performing together and traveling together because
Yeah.
you're with each other all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's nothing worse than um, not getting along with people in your own band, right?
Yes.
So and I haven't had that problem, um, and it's made things way more enjoyable now. So
Wow. Yeah. No.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
You said.
funny, hey?
Yeah. Yeah. After establishing, yourself as one of the most entertaining musicians here in Canada. In the 90s to the early 2000, and then and then you jump to forming the Steadies. And then you also began to work as a performance coach, right?
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and this is coaching bands, new artists.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So that's I guess uh, my main skill
Mm-hmm.
over the years, more than bass playing,
Mm-hmm.
more than singing or writing songs,
Yeah.
has been my performing ability. Um, Everyone talks about how I'm really, I guess I'm really entertaining and fun
Mm-hmm.
to watch
Mm-hmm.
perform,
We know
and
that. Yeah.
I really enjoy connecting with the audience and getting them involved in the show,
Yeah.
making them feel they're a part of it, so that when they leave the show, it's a more memorable experience
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
them,
Exactly. Yeah.
right? And it's
That's the
to the
whole
point where
point of
they
performing.
they
Yeah.
want to they want to come see you again
Yes.
the
Yes.
next time you come,
Mhm.
right?
Definitely. Yeah.
So that it to me, it's having fun and having a good time, and that experience, where it touches you, it makes an impact on you. So that's I've had years and years and years of practice, not only doing it
Mm.
myself, but because I've gotten to tour with the best in the world,
Of course. Yeah.
like the biggest bands
Yeah.
you could ever think of.
Mm-hmm.
I had the honor and luxury of watching how they do it, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
from backstage, how they carry themselves,
Mm-hmm.
to how they treat the crew, how they treat everybody, to how they perform every night, whether they're sick
Yeah.
or not feeling well,
Yeah.
or
Wow.
technical problems.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. They're so professional,
Yeah. All these
and it's
famous
and to,
artists that you played with, you
yeah,
toured
right.
with. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
you name them
Yeah.
all, right?
Yeah.
Stones,
Name them all.
Alanis,
Yeah.
AC/DC, you
Mm-hmm.
name it, Treasure of the Hip.
Yeah.
And that's what I learned the most, is that the greatness of these artists came from their consistency.
Okay.
They're great every night. They're not just, they don't have a bad night.
Mm-hmm.
It's always great, right? Or if they do have a bad night, you would never know,
Yeah.
right?
Who would
Just
know?
only they
It's
would know.
just.
Yeah,
Yeah.
only they
Yeah.
would know. And I saw that, and I was like, okay, because there's some nights where, especially when you're younger, and I see this in a lot of other artists,
Mm-hmm.
where if something goes wrong, or you're not in a good mood, or it affects you when you get on stage and affects your performance.
Yeah.
And that's the worst thing
Mm-hmm.
you could do. To me, the worst thing to happen, that could possibly happen, is someone to come see a show and feel like I wasn't trying
Oh.
hard enough,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I made sure, and I had a couple nights where I didn't, where I was like that. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
me and the guys in my old band, we were fighting or something,
Mm-hmm.
and we go on stage and we're playing all mad at each other, and we're
Mm-hmm.
pissed off,
Yeah.
and it's not fun. It's not, probably wasn't a fun show to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And so to get to see how these greats do it, really really hit home for me, where I thought, okay, I'm never going to let that happen again. I'm never
Yeah.
going to not give my all, like, ever again,
Yeah.
right? No matter the situation, I don't care if there's 10 people, in the
Mm-hmm.
crowd. I'm going to play like there's 1,000 people
Of
every
course.
night,
Every
every
night.
time,
Yeah.
no matter what.
Yeah.
If I'm not feeling good, it doesn't, too bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can rest after the show,
Right.
and so that's what I try to teach in my performance coaching, is that's that's really the first thing, is you need to learn, is that you have to I mean, and I think when you love it and you're
Mm-hmm.
passionate about it, it's a lot easier
Yeah.
to give it your all in every situation, no matter what, even if something bad is happening. Um, and hopefully that's what the people, these artists, learn from me when I work with them, is that you gotta always 120%, 150%, you're rocking out all the time, and to
Yeah.
have fun, have a good, you're supposed to
Mm-hmm.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
To play with other musicians is an honor. To get
Yes.
to do music for a living is an honor.
Mm-hmm.
Have some respect for it. And then there's definitely, it gets into more technical things, like how do you win an audience over, how do you connect with the crowd,
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. I try to improve
Mm-hmm.
uh, for up and coming artists to, even people who are established,
Mm-hmm.
who have done, maybe been were in a band that, like me, that
Mm-hmm.
did some really good things,
Mm-hmm.
that are now on their own.
Yeah.
I've worked with artists like that who I've known from back in
Okay.
the day,
Wow.
and but I don't treat them any differently. To me, it's like, okay, I don't care what you did
Yeah.
in your past.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not going to give it your all, and you're not willing to connect,
Mm-hmm.
put yourself out there, be vulnerable, put yourself out there,
Mm-hmm.
then you're not going to make it. You know,
Wow.
even
Yeah.
if you've had some success,
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Because people are smart.
Yeah.
Music
Yeah.
fans, when they come to shows, they want to not just see something great, but they want to experience and feel something.
Yeah.
And
It's the
that,
experience. Yeah. All the time.
yeah,
Like,
totally, it
people
is.
pay
And
for the show to
they're
experience
they're
something.
paying
Yeah.
money. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Wow. So
yeah.
Earl,
So
like you mentioned you've been like some established bands. They would attend your coaching conferences sometimes.
yeah,
What it like you said, like you treat them as well as the like the new artists and up and
sure,
coming artists, right? You treat them all like equal, right? Because
yeah,
we all know music a never ending, or the entertainment industry is a never ending learning process, right? Like, doesn't
right,
matter if
yeah,
you're a veteran entertainer musician or a new musician. Your coaching, your experiences, it still applies, when we mentioned
yes,
in introducing Earl a while ago. He was doing conferences here in Canada as the Breakout West all Songrise Conference, peak performance project. Are these
mm,
workshops, Earl, initiated by you, or you collaborate with some other organizations for these?
yeah. These are definitely organizations that have hired me on. Uh, the Peak Performance Project, especially, was a lot more, uh, I think, a higher level,
Mm-hmm.
because it was the top bands, up and coming bands in BC and Alberta,
Mm-hmm.
the top 12
Yep.
bands in each province that are the best
Yep.
coming up, and that's who I was coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And it's you know it became a bit of a challenge, because now you're dealing with musicians who think they're already great. you know
Mm.
there's like lots of ego, there's lots
Yeah.
of attitude,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Uh so it's up to me to kind of show them that, yeah, you know what, I've never had that kind of an ego. I was taught to always be humble, because, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
you can never learn enough.
Mm.
There's
Of
always
course.
somebody
Yeah.
better than you,
Mm-hmm.
and you can always get better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no
Yeah.
such thing as being the best
The
at
best.
something,
Yeah.
and
And
when it
keep
comes to
striving.
music.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's somebody better.
Of course. Yeah. All the
And
time. Yeah.
and yeah, and so that was, I think, them knowing it was me giving them lessons and tips made a bit of a difference, because of my background, and I think I had their respect. um, but even so, I would tell them, if there's something I think they needed to work on, that they could get better at, something just as simple as the singer making eye contact with the crowd. You'd be
Mhm.
surprised how
Mhm.
many singers don't do that.
Okay.
They're looking around, they're looking at the
Or just close
ground,
their eyes.
they close their eyes. Yeah, they're looking
Mhm.
up,
Mhm.
because they're scared to
Yeah.
to make
Yeah.
eye contact,
Mhm.
and but that's what you need to do. And the
Mhm.
best advice I could give all of these artists, where you have to treat the audience at a show like you would treat somebody, a friend that you were meeting for the first time,
Wow.
or
Yeah.
or someone that you want to be friends with.
Mm-hmm.
If you met somebody, if you and I were first
Mm-hmm.
met
Yeah.
and we shook hands, and we would shake hands and we would
Mm-hmm.
look each other in the eye,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
be smiling and chatting
Yeah.
with each other, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Joking around and connecting.
Yeah.
It's the same thing,
Yes. Wow.
right? It's
Mm-hmm.
exactly the same thing. If you treat an audience like that, which is what I do, and
Okay.
it works, because
Mm-hmm.
now they feel like they know you. They feel like,
Mm-hmm.
um,
There's
everyone's guard
some
is down. So
personal touch there, something
there's a
like that. Yeah.
connection. Yeah, there's a
Connection. Yeah.
connection
Yeah.
for sure.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's why people go see live shows, or else you could just stay home and
Mm-hmm.
watch it on TV
Yeah.
instead, right? It's
Yes.
the difference between going
Mm-hmm.
live.
Yeah.
So that's key. But yeah, no, I've worked with artists that are, um, brand new, who don't know
Mm-hmm.
anything about anything,
Mm-hmm.
and artists that, who have, some things happening for them.
Mm.
They're in a band. They maybe are in a really
The
good band. Labels are looking at them.
wow.
Things like that.
The
But
brand news and the branded, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I
Yeah.
treat them the same, because
Yeah.
the journey is to become great, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if the end goal is to become great, then the path for someone who's in the beginning or someone in the later stages is still the same.
Mm-hmm.
The end goal is to be great. So you
Yeah.
should be trying to do everything you can
Mm-hmm.
to be great, right?
Yeah. Wow, nice one. That's just some tidbits from Coach Earl
Just some
here,
tidbits.
right? Yeah, some
Yeah,
tidbits, you
yeah,
know. But yeah, that's your coaching career, you know, and it's still ongoing right now, right? Uh, with
yeah.
Steadies,
Definitely.
yeah. Earl Pereira, mga kaibigan, he's also the frontman of uh, the Steadies, based in Saskatoon in Canada, and they perform close to 100 shows per year, you know. But then Earl, we've been in this together, all of us in this pandemic, right? How do you go through this pandemic, like with your current band right now? How do you do stuff out there?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's been a big challenge for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I think, at the beginning of the pandemic, back in the spring,
Mm-hmm.
it was, we couldn't do much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All the everyone sort of was on their own,
Mm-hmm.
doing whatever they could
Mm-hmm.
to get through it.
Yeah.
And but I always felt like, um, there was going to be a time where we were going to get to play again, and so to not get too worried about that, instead embrace this time,
Mm-hmm.
uh, away from the road, because when you're touring all the time like we do, and like what I do,
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of time,
Mm-hmm.
setting up shows, playing the shows, promoting the shows, and it's never ending, because
Yeah. Yeah.
once you finish one show, you got to plan
Yeah.
ahead for the next
Always on the
ones.
go.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
constant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're always go go go,
Mm-hmm.
planning,
Yeah.
promoting.
Mm-hmm.
So I was nice, actually, for me. Not that the pandemic was nice, but
Yeah.
it was a time for me to take a break and
Mm-hmm.
actually focus on other
Kind
things,
of regroup
other than
yourselves. Yeah.
touring.
Yeah.
Yeah, regroup myself.
Yeah.
We we actually, I worked on, I did some solo stuff. I did a lot of
Mm-hmm.
acoustic,
Yep.
Streaming
Yeah.
performances, like
Been
most
watching
people
those
were doing
ones. Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a lot of those. I, just did whatever I could, try to write some new music, but what I wanted to do was kind of work on some of the business,
Mm-hmm.
of the band, things that get kind of neglected. So we
Mm-hmm.
had a new manager, and her and I have been working together all through the pandemic to
Mm-hmm.
try to raise the profile of the band,
No, okay. Yeah.
to get maybe some opportunities, maybe some uh, bigger um, things, I don't know, people in the industry would take notice of.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what we worked on, making our online presence look better, having some good live videos that we never really had, really high
Mhm.
quality things
Yeah.
that can really show the strength of the band
Hmm.
um, live, and it seemed to work. We got some attention, and there's some record labels
Oh, yeah.
that are that reached out to us and wanted to work with us,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
basically by the summer we were getting offered a deal, and
Wow. There you go. Oh, nice.
yeah, and now by, as of today,
Hmm.
it's done. We are
Wow.
a label band again,
Nice.
and
You
I
see that?
can't give more.
Yeah.
I can't give too many details about
See,
it
from
yet
label
because
to indie to label again. Once again,
yeah, yeah.
is this what the pandemic
So
does to
I don't know.
Earl?
Yeah,
What?
but it
It's all the hard work for sure, right,
for
Earl?
sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was actually good for me to
Nice.
finally take a step back
Yeah.
and look at what's important, what's the big picture,
Yeah.
where do we want to be, where can I get the steadies? Because when you, like I
Yeah.
said, when you're in that cycle of
Mm-hmm.
go 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 go,
Yeah.
it's easy to, and I've had music industry people tell me this,
Mm-hmm.
it's easy to fall into that trap and then miss out on bigger opportunities
Mm-hmm.
because you're not putting in enough time
Yeah.
into the big picture,
Yeah.
right?
Like we said,
So so
you managed to regroup yourself, and then here it is.
group
You
myself.
know.
Yep,
They all
that's
came in
right.
time. Yeah, just in time.
Just in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great,
Nice.
and
Yeah.
they love the new album.
Wow.
So they're gonna be promoting a couple, two singles off this album in
Yeah.
2021.
Wow.
So they want to announce that we're signed to them. So that's why we can't say anything right
Yeah,
now.
sure,
But
sure. But we'll be
yeah,
looking forward to that.
I have to let them do it. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
of course. Back to
So
the label life,
so
right?
things are
Yeah.
yeah. So things are
That's
looking up. And I mean the guys got to get together
mm-hmm.
and we played some shows this summer when we could.
Yeah.
We actually have some shows this weekend in Saskatoon,
Mm-hmm.
uh, which is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I know their shows aren't the same; they're different. You can't
Mm-hmm.
dance, you can't,
Mm-hmm.
there's not that many people allowed.
Yeah.
But it's still playing. We still
Yeah.
get to play,
The new
and I'm
normal.
excited because yeah,
Mm-hmm.
people we're such an established band for uh, going and having fun and dancing
Yeah.
and a bit of a party,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But this is a good chance for us to show that we're more than that, and I love that about the band.
Yeah.
But we can put on a concert too.
Yeah.
We
Of
can
course.
so
Yeah.
we're gonna play acoustic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna play my acoustic bass. The
Yeah.
guys will be on acoustic guitars, and we get to show off our songs.
Yeah. Yeah.
People, to show them we are songwriters too. We
Yeah.
are
Of
recording
course.
artists.
Yeah.
We're not just a party band,
Mm-hmm.
like some people
Mm-hmm.
think.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Wow.
Yeah, but
Speaking of bass guitar, Earl, mga kaibigan,
yeah,
folks, we all know Earl Pereira here. He's the bassist vocalist for his band, the Steadies, you know. And speaking of bass guitars, he's also one of the official endorser for Dingwall guitars. Can you tell us something about Dingwall guitars, the bass guitar you're
oh
endorsing?
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, most musicians know what Dingwall is. They're a world-renowned bass guitar company.
Mhm.
Uh, they formed in the mid '90s, and I became an endorsee with them in 1998.
Oh, as
and
early as 98. All right.
yeah, early '98.
Wow.
So Dingwall is actually named after the creator of the business. His name's Sheldon Dingwall,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a good friend of mine, and we've
Okay.
been working together for many years.
Yeah.
And that was one of the first endorsees for Dingwall back
Yeah.
when they were a very small company,
Mm-hmm.
and they would only make really expensive custom basses,
Yeah.
and he could only make so many of them a year because he was doing them by himself, right?
Yes. Yeah. We all know that dang
Um,
wall. Yeah.
right. But the more he grew, and it was great, perfect timing for him because with my band Wide Mouth Mason, we were very
Mm-hmm.
much in the spotlight,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So I had my Dingwalls when I was touring with the Rolling Stones.
Mm-hmm.
Their bass
Yeah.
player
Yeah.
saw me playing it
Mm-hmm.
and kind of stopped, like it was during sound check, and he came up to me and he
Mm-hmm.
was like, "What is that? What are you playing?"
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, and he was like, "I have never heard of that."
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Can I see?" Sure. And he got on stage and he started playing my bass.
Yeah.
And then he's like, is it okay if I play this
Whoa.
for for the show tonight?
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, of course. So
Rolling
so
Stones basis, right? Yeah.
I tried to get him endorsed, but
Ah, okay.
he was already
Okay.
endorsed by another
Yeah.
company. But
Mm-hmm.
he thought it was a great bass, and I told Sheldon that story, and he was like, "Man,
Mm-hmm.
this is awesome for the company. Just
Mm-hmm.
that I'm out there in all the magazines and
Mm-hmm.
on TV
Yes.
playing his basses, and
Mm-hmm.
so which was great for me because he would actually, for special performances or for if I'm on TV, I would have
Mm-hmm.
a different
Yeah.
bass
Yeah. All the
all the
perks.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the
Wow.
time. Yeah, I had all the perks. I got to play all of the basses, right?
Wow. Wow.
I didn't get
Wow.
to keep them all, but I
Mm-hmm.
got to play them. He actually made a bass for me that's a one of a kind that you can't get.
Mm-hmm.
I have the only one. I have
Custom
the only
made for
one
you.
of
Yeah.
that one. Yeah, it's a custom made for me. So that's really cool. And then
That's cool.
by the late 2000s, when I remember him telling me he was gonna get he was teaming up with a manufacturer in China
Okay.
to make a Dingwall bass that was more affordable,
Mm-hmm.
um, maybe around the
Mm-hmm.
$1,200
Yeah.
range
Okay.
instead of the $4,000 or $5,000 ones, right?
Yeah.
Because not everyone can
Mm-hmm.
afford
Yeah.
those, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that he thought it was going to be a game changer for them if people can buy a Dingwall bass, still have that Dingwall sound, but you
Yeah.
can actually afford it.
Yeah.
And sure enough, like
Mm-hmm.
that's when he exploded.
Oh, okay.
And for the last 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
they've just been growing
Yeah.
faster and faster and winning awards at different
Yeah.
conferences in NAM
Mm-hmm.
in LA, and lots more basses, lots of known bass players. I can't name any off the top of my head, but
Lots.
he's
Yeah.
got
Lots
people
of.
from
Yeah.
a lot of bands from all over the world
Yeah.
too,
All over
like
the world. Yeah.
playing them. Yeah, so it's pretty exciting for me to see. And
Mm-hmm.
we did an interview recently, um, and they posted where they had me playing that bass I was telling you about, that original, and it got like so many views and so many
Mm-hmm.
likes. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I saw it online. I think I'm gonna reshare it tomorrow, but
Mm-hmm.
that it just really showed me how big Dingwall is now.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, wow, this is.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for him. It's a big factory
Mm-hmm.
now, and it's all in Saskatoon. I don't know if you know
Yeah.
that, but
Okay. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
He's from
And
here. He makes them he makes them out of Saskatoon,
yeah.
but they're distributed all over the world,
Yeah. Yeah.
and now he's got a staff of 20 guys,
Mm-hmm.
and helping him make the bases,
Yeah.
and they're just pumping them out like hundreds
Wow.
a month.
And
It's
now,
pretty awesome.
yeah,
Yeah,
they have a mass production um
they
facility
do.
now, right? Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of getting
exactly.
a Dingwall, probably okay, a China, Dingwall. Wow.
You could get an afterburner. Yeah, get an
Huh?
afterburner for sure. They're great. Yeah, they're great
Wow.
basses.
And
Mm.
Earl, you still play Dingwall, ever since when you start endorsing them, and then up to now, you
Yeah,
know. Wow.
I was bugging Sheldon that I need a new one. I haven't
Shout
got a
out.
new bass. Yeah, it's been 10 years
Oh
since I
yeah.
got a new bass.
Wow.
So I usually every ten
Mhm.
years I get a new one.
Yeah.
But so
But
I think I
but
should probably get
yeah,
a new one.
getting a custom made bass guitar for yourself, it's good enough, you know.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and I have two
From
of those now.
Dingwall.
So
Wow.
yeah, I have two of those. So it's
Wow.
great, and it's great because I can go by the shop if
Mm-hmm.
something's wrong with
Yeah.
one of my basses,
Yeah.
that I'm not sure what's wrong with it. I'll just bring
Mm-hmm.
it to them. They'll happily,
Mm-hmm.
fix it for me and pick it up, and I can go get it. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's I'm pretty lucky.
Wow. Lucky guy here, Earl. Mga kaibigan,
Yeah,
Earl here, he mentioned, you mentioned, you said something like, over the 20 years, your 20 years in the music industry, in the music business, you still feel like you're just hitting your stride musically and having more fun than ever, why
yeah,
is it like it's 20 years,
true.
and then yeah, and you said your goal is to try to help artists and make music with integrity, creativity, and honesty, you know um
Yeah,
why is that? You've been 25 years, 20 plus years in the music, and then you still, humble guy, very rare,
yeah.
very rare. Yeah.
Well, I just think that being this way is I was just raised like that. I'm like the youngest of five
Mm-hmm.
children, like I had mentioned, and I had always had so much respect for my older brothers and my oldest sister and my family, my parents, that being humble is just who we are. I think
Nice.
that's the nature of Filipinos in general.
Wow.
You know,
Truly.
very gracious, respectful, humble people. Like I know my non-Filipino friends say nothing but good things about Filipinos.
Mm-hmm.
When I meet them and oh, are you Filipino? Yeah, they're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
geez, we just love Filipino people. I work with one, and they're the nicest, the most hardest working, and
Mm-hmm.
everything like that. So that's where it comes from for me.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
But when it comes to music and all these over these years, yeah, I feel like, especially when songwriting,
Mm-hmm.
to me, songwriting is the hardest skill.
Yeah.
You can learn how to be a great singer. You can learn how to be a great musician. It's really hard to learn how to be a good songwriter.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great, amazing
Yeah.
musicians, vocalists, musicians
Instrumentalists,
who
everything. Yeah.
who can't write a song.
Yeah.
They just
Mm-hmm.
they can't write a good song. They don't
Mm-hmm.
know how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something I've taken very seriously over the last maybe 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's when I was talking about in that quote where I feel like I'm hitting my stride right now
Mm-hmm.
is musically for sure. I feel like I'm in a really good place, especially with having to be the lead singer again.
Yeah.
Because in Wild Milk Mason I was not the lead singer, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it gave me, being in that band, I had more freedom to be a performer and connect with the audience
Mm-hmm.
because I don't have to be always singing.
Mm-hmm.
So the challenge for being in the Steadies and to get to where I am now was, okay, well, how do I be a front guy,
Mm-hmm.
bass player, um, but still have that ability to connect with the audience and have that
Mm-hmm.
same energy?
Yeah.
So that's been many years. So that's where I feel like I'm hitting my stride. I think I found a perfect balance now
Mm-hmm.
of how to be entertaining,
Mm-hmm.
but yet be able to sing live
Mm-hmm.
well and perform well, and and play very well.
Yeah.
But most importantly, how to write songs well.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the good fortune of working with the Songrise conference that you mentioned.
Yep.
Uh, I was there more of as a performance
Oh,
coach,
okay.
but there was a songwriting coach there, and he was from He's from Nashville, and he writes hit songs. Like, that's what he does.
Mm-hmm.
He has #1 worldwide hit songs in every decade since the 60s,
Oh.
including this decade,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this guy
Nashville
knows,
guy.
yeah, this guy knows what's up, right? He's written
Yeah.
hit songs for Garth Brooks,
Mm-hmm.
Taylor Swift, mostly in the country world,
Mm-hmm.
but still a #1
But
song is a
still,
number one
yeah,
song.
he knows what's up, what's hip, right? Yeah.
If anything,
Mm-hmm.
country music has the best songwriting. I
Mm-hmm.
think country music has some of the
You can
best
say that, yeah,
songs,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
because they tell stories the best way.
Yeah.
They some of the most memorable lyrics
Mm-hmm.
can come from country music.
Yes.
And he's not a country music person. He just loves all music.
Yeah.
He just happens to be living in Nashville,
Mm-hmm.
writing for country artists, but
Yeah.
he could write hits for anybody,
Mm-hmm.
really. So he taught me a lot. I learned a ton from him, and it really made me take a look at my own music and my own songs. Like, I would show him. I'd ask him. His name is Ralph Murphy. I would say, "Hey, Ralph,
Yeah.
is it okay if I show you one of my songs?" Because Ralph was very, very. He gave me lots of compliments and praises for my ability to connect with the audience, because he saw me perform
Okay.
with other great songwriters, but he thought I stood out more just for my ability to just perform,
The
because that's what I
performance,
do,
yeah.
right?
Okay, yeah.
That's what I do best.
Mm-hmm.
And but then he also said, unfortunately, he's like, your songs probably won't get played on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh yeah. And he said, I'll tell you why. He's like, show me one of your songs. And so I was gonna pull out my
Mm-hmm.
my iPod and my headphones, and he was like, no, I don't wanna listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
I already heard you do it.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen you do it, and it worked at 10 o'clock at night in front of a crowd, but it won't work at 7 a.m. on the radio.
On the radio. Wow.
And I was like, oh, okay. And I said, well, what do you want? He's like, just write the lyrics for me. So I said, oh, okay. So I wrote my lyrics out, handed it to him on a piece of paper, and he pulled out a pen. He was like a teacher. He just put his glasses on, he had his red pen. He started circling things, crossing things out, writing. He's like, your song doesn't make sense. He said, it doesn't, that when someone gets up and goes to work in the morning and turns on the radio, what they want to hear is going to be focusing on is the lyrics. And if your song lyrics doesn't hit a person here, emotionally, like you are, he said, you can do that to a crowd when you're playing in front of them at night, but when it's just your song on its own, the person can't see you, they can't hear you perform, they don't know what your performing is like. It's just only the song. He's like, you have a lot of work to do. He's like, you have some good parts, you have some good ideas, but the way you put them together he's like, it doesn't make sense. He's like, I need to know what you're saying. I need to know what the song's about. I need to know. You have to work harder at being a good songwriter. And I was like, oh God, okay. This was in 2012, right? Yeah. So I was thinking, okay, well, shoot. I thought I've been writing songs for my whole life, and the way he put it, I felt like I didn't know anything, Okay. So then I started taking his lessons and every time I would write a song from that point on, I would think about him and be like, what would he think about this song? Yeah. Am I descriptive enough in the verses? Do I paint a clear picture with my descriptions? Is my chorus, is it strong enough of a hook that someone's going to sing it? Is the song going to be memorable? Will it work at 7 a.m. on the radio? you know, and I never thought about those things
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
And I think it's really changed my writing, and now
Hmm.
to this day I can be pretty proud of the music. Like the
Yeah.
most recent Steadies album,
Hmm.
I feel is the best songwriting I've ever done.
Wow. Yeah.
um I think if I played that for Ralph, I think he would be
You would be very
happy.
proud for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I'm sure
Wow.
I'm gonna keep working. I know I can
Yeah.
still get better.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty. That's the beauty of songwriting. You
Hmm.
can write songs until you're 80 years old,
Yeah.
right?
And of
And
course, Earl, yeah, it's not just that. You got everything, the mentoring for lyric songwriting, but then your character, like ego aside, and then just focus on learning a new stuff, right? This is what carried you on for sure. That's why the
yeah,
steadies are, where they are right now because you took the advice, egos aside. Wow, so nice.
yeah. That's how that's
Nice.
how you have to do it
Mhm.
that way.
Yeah,
To
that's the
me,
only
it's
way.
just
Yeah.
yeah. To me, that's the only way for sure.
Hmm.
Because we're students, we're all learning. This
Yeah,
is
never ending process. Yeah.
it's a never-ending process,
Yeah.
And my dad was
Hmm.
really, he was a really important
Hmm.
person in my life for
Hmm.
pushing me to get to be the best and be.
Yeah.
He saw the best as being not the best in the world, but the best I could possibly be
Nice. So
at
good to
what
hear.
I do,
Wow.
And he would tell me too, if he heard a song, he'd be like, "You can do better than that
The
one,"
first critic.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
really harsh.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
was a harsh critic. But when he loved something, I knew it was good.
Wow.
If my dad thought it was good, then it was then it was probably good.
Nice.
Especially with sound, he was really
Mhm.
critical of how a band sounds
Yeah.
on the recording or live. Doesn't
Wow.
matter. If it doesn't sound good, he's gonna tell me.
Yeah.
If something's off, he's gonna tell me.
Yeah.
And I
Mhm.
was talking to you about my regret of not making it to the Philippines yet,
Yeah,
and
sure. Yeah, we
that's
can. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that next. But before
sure.
that, Earl Pereira here once again, folks. They had, in his 20+ year career in the music industry, they had three Juno nominations, three certified gold records, nine Western Canadian Music Awards, two Canadian Radio Music Awards, three Toronto Exclusive Music Awards, eight top 20 Canadian radio hits, and five top 20 Much Music video hits, mga kaibigan. Since the 90s up to now, Earl has never stopped in the music. He's even mentoring startup musicians, up and coming artists, as well as going steady with his band, the Steadies. And what else are we expecting from Earl? There's so much to offer. And then let's go to, Earl here has plans to go back to our country, the Philippines. He's never ever been to the Philippines, ever since.
No,
What are your
no.
your plans, Earl?
Yeah, me and all of my siblings, none of us have gone back. We talk about
Mm-hmm.
it. Everyone gets so busy in their lives,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not cheap
Mm-hmm.
to do. And you don't want to just go for a little while. If you're gonna go there, you want to be there
Yeah.
for a long time
Yes.
to make it worth the trip.
Make
And
it worth it.
and I
Yeah.
think with me being touring so much and nonstop, it hasn't given me enough time that I would want, because I would want to go for like 2 months,
Mm-hmm.
a month to
Yeah.
2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Um, although with my first big paycheck I got from the music industry,
Yeah.
we got a song in a movie,
Okay.
and I got a big
Oh.
I got a big check sent to
Wow.
me,
Mm-hmm.
and I used it to send my folks to the Philippines,
Wow.
because
Wow. Wow.
they hadn't been. My dad went
Mm-hmm.
once in the 80s,
Nice.
right?
Yeah.
But my mom had never gone back,
Oh,
and
okay.
then in 1999, 98, 99,
Mhm.
I was able to afford them to, and this is
Wow.
one of the things I'm most proud of.
Yeah.
If anything that I accomplished through music,
Wow. Yeah.
is that I was able to send them home
Nice.
and they could have a vacation. They reconnect with all their friends
Mhm.
and our family there. I think they had an awesome time.
Wow.
They were very
You're an
very
awesome
happy.
guy, Earl. Yeah. You're a good son.
Thanks.
Wow.
You know, yeah, I
Mhm.
just, you know, that's what
Mhm.
I wanted to do. And then the next goal was, okay, now that they've gone, now I want to go
Mhm.
with my family
Mhm.
and my mom and dad.
Mhm.
My dad was he was very pushy about, we gotta go. You know,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
called me
Yeah.
Badog, like
Mhm.
I'm the youngest. He's like, we gotta
Yeah.
go. You guys would be so big there.
No.
He's like, you gotta make it. You gotta make it, the band big in the Philippines. And I
Mhm.
was just like, Dad, I don't know how. How am I supposed to do that? I don't know. He's like,
Yeah.
well,
Why not?
figure it out. We'll
Yeah.
figure it out. You
Why
know,
not,
we'll
Earl? Yeah.
yeah. He's like, first, you know, you gotta make some hits, and
Mhm.
then you gotta find a promoter there. And
Mhm.
then my dad had a whole plan,
Yeah.
right? And he saw it. He knew we could make it
Yeah.
there and be known there, and
Yeah.
that was one of his goals, and it's one of my goals too. Uh, and you know, I guess as he got older,
Mhm.
I didn't realize why he was being so pushy, because I think he knew, you know, his health wasn't the best, and that he only had so many years left, and that it has to happen soon, right? I didn't
Yeah.
understand why geez, Dad, I'm not ready yet. He's like, but we got to do this soon, and I think he knew, and sure enough, he passed away um, just before COVID,
Mhm.
and yeah, that was a big regret for me. You know, losing my dad was huge, because he was like the number one Steadies fan. You know, he was at all our shows, and he uh, he was just a huge part of everything I do with music. Um, you know, that I felt a bit lost, and I felt like I disappointed him by like not taking going to the Philippines more seriously. And so now that's my that's my top of my list for a goal, is that I do want to go there. It would be there already if it wasn't for this pandemic.
Yeah.
But I've got my family. Everyone's on board. We're all gonna go together.
Right.
We're gonna bring my dad's
Yep.
ashes there,
Mhm.
and bury them there where he's from,
Yep.
where it belongs.
Mhm.
Uh, and if I can, you know, get the band more known there, and play a show, that would be a dream. You
Wow.
know, to play a show in the Philippines,
Yes. Yes.
you know,
Wow.
that to do it for him, you
Mhm.
know, that's
Yep.
I would be happy
I guess it's
with my
just yeah
career.
the
Yeah,
only way
that would be the
to
biggest
honor
accomplishment
your
for
dad.
me.
Yep. Wow.
Yeah, that
Well,
would be bigger than touring with any big band, or selling records or winning awards. I
exactly.
don't care. I don't care about that.
Mhm.
I care about doing what he wanted us to do, and finally doing it, and then I can say we did it. You know, look,
Yeah.
Dad, look where we are. I'm here. I'm in the Philippines finally,
Yes.
and we have fans, and people are there, and maybe
Nice.
now that, you know,
Mhm.
we're a signed band, it'll give us some more
Yeah,
opportunities
more
to,
opportunities. Yeah. Tour the
for sure,
Philippines, Asia. Yeah.
yeah, and I've made a couple connections there, and that he knew about, and so he was getting
Wow.
excited, because, you know,
It's all
I
worked
met
out. Yeah.
yeah, like a
Yeah.
cousin of a cousin works
Mhm.
for Viva
Yeah.
Entertainment,
Yeah.
and she really likes the band,
Mhm.
so she's there. She's gonna try to promote us
Wow.
to her bosses,
Mhm.
and now that we are a signed band, maybe it will help.
Of course. Yeah. But then, yeah, the whole point of doing this is to honor your dad. This is a
Yeah.
very noble act, and then a tribute. Something like that.
Yeah. Oh,
Wow. you
definitely.
know
Yeah. That's
you know
I'm making that my life's goal.
yeah.
That's my life's goal.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Earl, for everything you shared to us tonight. And then it's just so overwhelming. Like hearing myself, I'm so inspired as well. Like all the with all these
Oops.
achievements in the music industry.
Oh, did
Mga
I lose you?
kaibigan. Yeah.
Sometimes I guess the message from this song is that just because you have the access to be able to message people from anywhere, I feel like sometimes it gives people the excuse to be kind of rude
Mm-hmm.
in messaging. Like, let's say you make a friend or even someone you're interested in romantically, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
and things are going well, things are going good, and all of a sudden you never hear from them ever again.
Mm-hmm.
That's, to me that's kind of rude, and that's what this song's about, is to try to not be like that.
Mm-hmm.
Treat everyone with respect. If you don't you know want to talk with someone anymore, then just tell them. Just be more upfront, be more honest about it, and yeah, don't be a coward. you
Mm-hmm.
know
Yeah.
be honest. Be honest with people.
Yep. All right. Once again, mga kaibigan, thank you so much, Earl, for guesting.
Okay.
All right. Meanwhile, here's Ghosted from the Steadies. Mabuhay tayong lahat.
Yes.
See you all on the
Woo!
next
Yeah, high
episode.
five.
Bye-bye.
All right,
Thanks,
man.
Earl. Bye-bye.
See you. Bye bye.
Okay.